In the last video, we compared what high and low values of each learning hyperparameter represent in sort of more personable, anthropomorphic terms. Now let's look at what a differential relationship between those hyperparameters and the performance metrics that we're using looks like. In other words, we'll look at the differential relationship d alpha by d reward, d alpha by d penalties, d alpha by d steps, and so on for gamma and epsilon. So when d alpha by d reward is positive, when the learning rate increases as rewards increase, we could interpret that without anthropomorphizing too much, simply looking at what the numbers mean. It's saying that increasingly successful stretches let older knowledge become superseded easily and promotes map updating. On the other hand, a negative differential relationship between alpha and an increase in reward would mean that successful stretches promote confidence in the old map and actually slow down how quickly the map updates. In different circumstances, either of these may be the more adaptive strategy. We can also look at changing alpha with respect to penalties. So if alpha increases as penalties go up, that means that increasingly painful stretches let older knowledge become superseded more quickly and promote a more thorough updating. Whereas if alpha decreases with response to an increase in penalties, that means that painful stretches slow down learning and slow down updates to the map. It may seem that only the first of these is adaptive, but in a more complex and more dynamic system, and given the right value and cost functions, either of these may be chosen as adaptive strategies by persons, we'll say, by people. And this is something that we actually see. Next we'll look at change in alpha relative to change in steps. So when that's positive, that means that an increased effort promotes increased attention to new info, which maximizes the information that can be gained on increasingly long journeys or increasingly time-intensive efforts toward task completion. This could mean greater carefulness. However, whatever the causal influence, it's an increase in the learning rate as a result of an increase in the step count. On the other hand, if the learning rate decreases as the step count increases, we can simply read this as saying that increased effort inhibits map building. This may mean that the learner interprets a lengthening step count as indicating that the present strategy is leading to less useful territory, and it doesn't bother to learn. Again, we can't attribute causal or motivational reasoning just to the existence of a differential relationship. We're looking at both the positive and negative possibilities. What about gamma? If gamma increases as reward increases, that means that immediate payoffs are promoting the greater consideration or greater relative value of longer-term goals. Whereas a decrease in gamma when rewards increase means that immediate payoffs are inhibiting the relative value that's placed on the future. If gamma goes up when penalties go up, that means that the learner's relative attribution of value on longer-term rewards is increasing. We could interpret this as increased caution. Again, it can be helpful to go there, but don't commit epistemologically too soon. And then if gamma decreases with respect to penalties, that means increased penalties decrease the relative value placed on future rewards, and greater relative emphasis goes to the short term. If gamma goes up as the path length increases, then that means that increased path length leads to increased value placed on future rewards, which we can interpret as being completion-oriented. But again, let's not attribute motivations too quickly. Conversely, if gamma goes down as the step count increases, then that suggests that increased path length leads to a decreased value placed on future rewards, which we could interpret as the learner being more exploration-oriented or map-greedy. Lastly, if epsilon goes up, if the exploration rate goes up as net rewards go up, then that suggests that increased net rewards promote greater exploration. Whereas if epsilon goes down, that may suggest that increased net rewards promote greater adherence to a known map. If epsilon goes up with respect to as penalties go up, that suggests that increased penalties promote greater exploration and faster map updating. Whereas if epsilon goes down, that suggests that increased penalties discourage the learner from trying new things at random and promote greater adherence to the known policy. And if step count goes up and epsilon goes up at the same time, we might infer that longer trips lead to even greater exploration. When might that be the case? Perhaps if the territory is changing and the paths that exist are becoming outdated, the learner increases its exploration rate in order to gather new information about this changing territory. That's one possible attributional model. Conversely, if exploration rate goes down as trips increase in length, it simply means that longer trips promote decreased exploration, which could be an attempt strategically to directly counteract the increased path length. When applying anthropomorphic standards to machine learning models, be cautious that you don't believe they think and feel as we do. At the same time, when models are based on simplifications of human behavior, the simple, bare, phenomenological observations that can be yielded from those models can actually give us insight into what people are motivated by, what people value, and what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you.